421-SEAL. Time to check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jeremy Scott.
Well, eastbound Palatine is closed at Milwaukee for a semi that went off the road in the woods. They are hooking it up, should be out of the way here momentarily. Also, northbound Lakeshore Drive heavy from Oakwood to before 31st with a rollover taking out the right lane. Looks like they're trying to extricate that as well. Kennedy inbound 33 in from O'Hare, 14 in from Montrose, 12 in your express lanes. Eisenhower inbound 37 in from Route 390, 25 in from Wolf to Stevenson, 34 in from 355. 24 in from the Tri-State. Also seeing delays just pop up on the Edens. 18 in from Lake Cook, 20 back out. If you're on the Dan Ryan, it's 18 minutes, 95th into downtown. Also, don't forget that northbound Tri-State ramp to 75th closed till Tuesday, November 24th for construction. That's traffic. I'm Jeremy Scott. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and breezy and a high of 51. Now 30 degrees at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This is not a state, this is a state and local issue, not a federal issue at this point. That could change depending on who's in the White House. I'm talking about lockdown policy. Even if the government can't force a lockdown directly, as Joe Biden might like, so he's insinuated they can do so by tying resources to following the directives of the federal government, right?
Right.
This is what they do on a range of issues. There's no reason they couldn't do it with respect to COVID-19 response. And so it is relevant that you have acts of defiance occurring all over Chicagoland, in Plainfield, the Shaku restaurants, which has a branch in Naperville, staying open. We've talked about Elmhurst and Libertyville, half a dozen restaurants in Schaumburg and elsewhere.
37 restaurants in McHenry County.
Filing suit. The restaurant, the Foxfire in Geneva, that has filed for injunctive relief and is currently litigating that. This is important. So people don't make distinctions on this score between federal and state or local, which is who is looking out for my interests and who is helping me with the pressing demands on my life. And the pressing demand on a lot of people's lives right now is whether or not we're going to live in an open society and deal with the virus, or whether we're going to lock down and pretend we can hide from the virus. This is central to tomorrow's election, which leads us into this round of closing arguments. Again, closing arguments from candidates in key local, state, and federal races. And we begin Monday with this Monday with Jim Oberweis, who's a state senator for the 25th District out Kane County Way, lives in Aurora, and the Republican nominee running against Lauren Underwood. He is the challenger in that race, trying to return that seat to Republican hands. Jim, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Good morning to you all.
Good. So how do you receive the acts of thoughtful, civil, peaceful defiance by restaurants and other businesses who are defying Governor Pritzker's shutdown order in your district?
Well, Dan, look, Oberweis Dairy is affected. We actually have 9 restaurants ourselves, but we'll survive. I mean, we also sell milk and ice cream, and quite frankly, milk and ice cream sales are up, even though our restaurant sales are significantly down. But it's not us that I'm worried about. It's the poor guys who have their whole life built into perhaps 1 or 2 restaurant units, and they're effectively being put out of business. Their whole life savings taken away from them, their jobs taken away from them, their employees' jobs taken away from them. This governor is without giving us in the legislature firm explanation and facts and figures as to why or where there has been any spread of the virus through restaurant dining. I think that's just fundamentally wrong. It seems pretty safe if you have tables separated significantly, 6 or 8 feet apart, and people are wearing masks except when they're eating. we're not aware that this is a source of spreading of the virus, and I think the governor has overstepped his bounds.
Yeah, I mean, the science and data that they're using, it's not realistic because the contact tracers, when they called them and said you were at a restaurant, okay, they didn't ask them, but were you also at a grocery store? Were you also at work?
Right.
Did you also go to
Or
a
were you
gym?
outdoors?
I mean, they just got the answer they wanted, and that was the end of the conversation. And I wanted to just put something on your plate. I heard from a source from Pritzker's administration that, and I'm going to ask him about this today, that after the election, he's going to put the entire state back into phase 3, which means no more of 10 people or less, which means they're going to close churches again, close gyms, keep restaurants closed and bars just for takeout only. And did you hear anything like that, or is this news to you?
No, but we're essentially there right now, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just another example that he has unbridled power, and we need to get, have checks and balances because he's not a dictator, but yet he's acting like one.
Right. And while you're talking about some of the restrictions that he's put in, I would really encourage voters, if they have an opportunity, to please go vote today. Don't wait for tomorrow, because he's put in some severe restrictions for tomorrow as well, where the election judges are going to have to clean and sanitize the voting booths after every single user, which means that the waits could be enormous tomorrow. So please find some time today and go out and get it done.
Give us your closing argument. What's the choice for voters on the 14th, you versus Lauren Underwood?
Well, it's simple. Look, Underwood has voted absolutely 100% of the time with Nancy Pelosi, no exceptions. Every issue, every bill, every vote. She represents Pelosi's interests, not our district's interests, and I'll represent our district. Secondly, she's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars of campaign cash from Mike Madigan and obviously refuses to call for him to step down as a result. But the worst thing is, we called on her time and time again for months to condemn the rioting and looting that's been going on, which she refused to do. And guess what? She then finally, when pinned by the Chicago Sun-Times editorial board, called it a beautiful form of protest. Well, I support everybody's right to demonstrate or protest peacefully. I've done it myself. But when you start to break windows, steal things, throw Molotov cocktails, that's no longer beautiful, and it should be condemned by all. And she just has a different view of that. I think it's unacceptable. She's voted for $1,200 stimulus checks for every illegal alien in this country. She has never paid a property tax bill in her life. She has no background in the private sector and business. She doesn't understand what it takes to create jobs and opportunities for other people, and that's what I've done for my whole life. The difference couldn't be greater.
She also, per questioning during congressional hearings, so she, on the one hand, as you suggest, she wants to fund people in this country illegally. On the other hand, she wants to defund law enforcement. She seemed to be pretty antagonistic about the ongoing existence of ICE.
Right, exactly. And we support secure borders, and I certainly agree with that. I'm excited that the president has finally addressed this issue and brought it to the forefront instead of just kind of pushing it on the side. And
the other issue, too, and this is particularly important to all the local communities in your district, which is the desire by people like Lauren Underwood to essentially federalize policing, have the federal government come in, if it was a Biden Department of Justice, and start imposing consent decrees governing how local police departments operate, to the extent they exist.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, she is a big government girl. She believes the government is the answer to everything. More spending from the government will solve all problems. Unfortunately, there's going to be a price to pay for that kind of approach. And
with respect to business policy, moving out of the lockdown, but just business environment, generally speaking, distinguish yourself between Lauren and Lauren Underwood on the matter of business formation and job creation.
Sure. Look, sometimes I don't really like the way our president has gone about some of these problems, but I sure do like what he's done. I sure do like the direction. And the reducing of the restrictions and regulations on business has allowed our economy to grow. I mean, when you go back to January, February this year, we had the strongest economy ever, among the lowest unemployment rates overall ever, and definitely the lowest unemployment rates for African Americans, for women, for Latinos. I mean, we had a terrific economy growing, and it was, I think, in significant part because of the reduction of regulations and the reduction in corporate tax rates, making American companies competitive on a worldwide basis, which was very difficult for them to be under the Obama-Biden administration.
He is Jim Oberweis. The website, Jim2020, jim2020.com for more information on his candidacy. State Senator for the 25th District out Kane County Way of Western Burbs, and the Republican nominee for Illinois 14 running against Lauren Underwood. He's on the ballot tomorrow out in the Western Burbs. Jim Oberweis, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. On the ballot today, Dan.
On the ballot today.
Oh, yes,
you
that's
vote
right.
today.
Early voting
right.
today, and you suggest we do
He's
it
on the
today,
ballot
so.
every day through tomorrow. Yes, exactly.
Thanks. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
You too.
All right, now we switch over to the Cook County State's Attorney's race. We're pleased to be joined by former Cook County judge and Republican candidate for Cook County State's Attorney Pat O'Brien. Pat, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And I know that the race is close, not just because the polling suggests as much, but because I see Kim Foxx ads on TV attacking you. So that's got to be pretty good news for you. Normally, a Republican candidate in Cook County does not get the kind of attention you're getting from the Democrats.
Well, I guess it's good and bad. You don't like to see yourself attacked and certainly falsely attacked. But you're right. I was told at the start of this by the people that I consulted that it's when they start to attack you, then you know you're getting their attention.
Well, what about these wrongful convictions that they're accusing you of? Defend yourself.
Well, the bottom line is the 27 or whatever is convictions were not convictions that I participated in. They were instances where subsequently DNA testing, which didn't exist at the time, freed persons correctly who had been convicted by juries and upheld by appellate courts before. And there was never a dime paid by Cook County or the state's attorney's office. You know, when the mayor talks about, not going back to the old time, she's not talking about the state's attorney's office. She's talking about the city of Chicago.
Well, right. I mean, it's not surprising that Kim Foxx doesn't understand the role of a judge, that she doesn't understand that you're not in the business of convicting in a criminal trial, that's for prosecutors to make the case and juries to make the decision. Unsurprising. Give us the closing. I mean, as if we need a closing argument against Kim Foxx, but give us what you're selling to people who are not inclined to vote Republican and who you need to vote for you running as a Republican in order to win.
Well, the first thing I'd have to say is the office is too important to decide by a party label. I've served in the past 4 state's attorneys, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. I ran for judge as a Democrat. I'm running as a Republican because they believe in accountability and because we have to replace and fire Kim Foxx. I would put in a larger unit to fight gangs. I would attempt to get a victim and witness relocation unit so that when witnesses might come forward but would not because of gangs being in their neighborhood, let's get them out of those neighborhoods. We'll relocate them to another city and make sure their kids get in good schools, job opportunities. Let's make them safe. There's a way to do this. Public corruption, Kim Foxx can't seem to find any. All she has to do is look over her shoulder at her list of donors and she'd be able to find some. So this is a situation where we can't take 4 more years. The city and county can't take 4 more years. I'm looking to put in a reasonable, common sense approach to law enforcement. Protect things that need to be protected, not lock everybody up, but lock up the violent criminals. That's the story that and the platform that I'm advocating.
And bring prosecution back to the prosecutor's office. That's a novel idea. Here's where I think this goes to. I want your comment if she's reelected. We see it happening in Seattle right now, where the proposal is to allow for poverty as a defense for most misdemeanors, as an absolute defense. I'm not talking about alternative sentencing. I'm not talking about fines versus imprisonment. I'm a community service. I'm talking about as a legitimate defense to a crime you commit, you plead poverty. That's where this is going to go with the Soros-funded prosecutors like Fox. Don't you agree?
Well, I would say this. No one's above the law. No one is beneath its protection. And I think you're doing a disservice to people who happen to be less, advantaged than others in the community by saying somehow you are born to commit crime. We're going to forgive that. We understand that. That's just your destiny. That, to me, is hogwash.
Totally.
You've got to understand that people don't want to be treated differently based upon their economics or their skin color or their religion. They just want to be treated fairly. And there's ways that you can treat people fairly. If there is a crime that's financial in nature, you can, in fact, have them deferred out of the system, Give them a program where they can get help if it's drug addiction, if it's alcohol, if it's a situation where they should be hopefully getting their high school diploma or GED. You can put them on a program and monitor them. Sometimes people just need a hand up, not a hand out.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, look, if you're not an identitarian nutcase, then I don't know how you don't vote for Pat O'Brien in this race just based on the record Kim Foxx has amassed. A
lot of Democrats are voting for him. I know that.
Well, that's why the race is so close, and hopefully you get across the finish line. Pat O'Brien, the website, O'BrienForCook.com, O'BrienForCook.com. If you want more information on Pat O'Brien, get to know him in advance of going to the polls. Pat O'Brien, former Cook County judge, Republican candidate for Cook County State's attorney. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, and thank you to all the people that are watching. I hope they vote, and I hope they vote for me.
Absolutely.
Bye. Yep.
All right, closing out today's round of closing arguments, we're pleased to be joined by Mark Curran. He is a former sheriff of Lake County. He is an attorney as well. He's a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate running against Willie Wilson and Dick Durbin. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Dan, thanks for having me. I worked with Pat O'Brien 30 years ago, too, in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office.
You guys are old.
He's a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
57, brother.
It's the best years of your life.
Give us the closing argument against both Durbin and Willie Wilson, since you have a three-way race.
Sure, thank you. So Dick Durbin's been there 38 years, 24 years in the United States Senate. Social Security is unfunded. It's about to go bankrupt. Medicare is unfunded. That's why they're pushing for the single-payer health care. You go right down the list. $27 trillion in debt. All of this is a result of Dick Durbin, who has basically been kicked the can down the road, has done nothing in terms of being a fiscally good steward, voted for thousands of tax increases, dozens of debt ceiling increases. He's been horrible. He's been horrible for Illinois. You spend a lot of your shows talking about Illinois and how we're at the bottom of every economic category. Chicago Tribune endorsed me, saying that Curran is Illinois-centric, whereas Durbin is Washington-centric. They went on to say that I'm a change agent, that I was basically a change agent long before the Me Too movement, and recognizing that things needed to move. So as you followed me, Dan, you know that I'm not somebody that's tied in with the Illinois Republican Party necessarily. I'm very much an independent voice.
It's true.
To do the right thing. That's going to follow. It's going to fight for Illinois.
So,
as far as Willie Wilson, Dan?
Yeah, because why should people who want to vote against Durbin and like Willie being sort of an independent voice in Chicago, that's their way to vote against Durbin is Willie Wilson? Why should they vote for Curran instead?
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, Willie Wilson's a wasted vote. He has no chance. All of southern and central Illinois is with Curran. We're going to do really, really well down there. We've got a great chance, Dan. So I'm going to get no matter what, I would get 45% if I didn't do anything. But having knocked down the Tribune, having worked so hard as I have, we believe we're much higher than that. So Wilson is helping me by knocking off some of Durbin's votes, especially highlighting the fact that Durbin has done nothing for the black community, has left them behind. Really anything that's going to be taking a vote away from Curran. So they should go there as well. So I have a great chance, Dan, as you said. I was a county state federal prosecutor. I'm somebody that served as the longest-serving sheriff in a blue county. I won that county consistently, and it's the second bluest county in Illinois. President Trump lost Lake County by 21 points and change. So Curran has a great chance. We have worked so hard to get to this point, and I just need every vote. I need all, the help we can get down this last day.
And what do you think it says? Because Dick Durbin, you mentioned he's been here in the Senate for decades, that he actually has a campaign ad out. I can't remember 6 years ago him ever having a campaign ad out. So do you think he's nervous?
Yeah, I would say so. He's got Obama. He's going to spend he's got Obama running these ads for him. He's going to spend $10 million on this race. So that's what my grassroots has done. It's a shame that we didn't get more coverage. So we had a debate on NBC5. There's no way that anybody could have seen that debate and not thought that Curran won that debate hands down. Similarly, we had a Daily Herald and a Sun-Times editorial interview, and I clobbered him in both those. I mean, I tell people that he's much more of a 40-year-old Ali than a 20-year-old Ali. He's kind of just mailing it in, not doing anything but spending all this money. And we're killing him. The only thing is that we didn't get the coverage that we want, but we believe that the grassroots will overcome that.
He is
some real evil in Chicago media, as you all know. Channel 9. I mean, they haven't run one story on it. I've been in this race 16 months. And how is that possible? Is Pat Brady telling them not to run stories on that race? I don't know, but I mean, that's demonic. So when we win on Tuesday night, not everybody's going to get to talk to us.
Good.
Okay. He is Mark Curran. He is the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate running against Dick Durbin and Willie Wilson, former sheriff of Lake County. The website, electcurran.com, electcurran, CURRAN.com. Mark, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for the chance to talk. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Sean Matlis, your Chicago Tribune-endorsed independent candidate for state rep in District 18, the North Shore. Illinois is near the bottom for unemployment, outmigration, and overall tax burden. I oppose the graduated tax amendment, and I'm for term limits, fair maps, and pension reform. My opponent, Robin Gable, has been in office 10 years and voted for Madigan for Speaker every time, and his tax hikes. Help me oppose the Madigan machine. Visit SeanForStateRep.net and punch 42 to vote Matlis. I'm Sean Matlis, and I approve this message.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Well, I'm a Lyft driver, so I'm on the road a lot. It keeps me very focused, I notice. When you're on the road, you have to be aware of what's going on. It keeps me very much aware of everything. And I definitely think it helps energy-wise. It keeps me very consistent. I don't find myself going like one day's good, next day's bad. It balances everything out, like it says, balance of nature. It evens out everything where I don't get sick, and energy-wise, it's very much across the board. So I love it.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Finally, the story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. It's in a brand new book entitled Above the Law.
This is Matt Whitaker, former acting United States Attorney General. My new book, Above the Law, is a first-hand account of how former FBI Chief James Comey and top officials in the Justice Department worked against the president, and how the Mueller investigation amounted to nothing more than political subversion.
Read Matthew Whitaker's eye-opening account of Obamagate in Above the Law. It's at Amazon and wherever books are sold.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What relief may be coming after the election, particularly if it's a Trump victory for small businesses? We're going to talk to Jovita Carranza, the administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, at 8:38 about that.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
31 degrees. More people being pulled from the rubble today in Turkey, where a powerful earthquake struck that country's western coast last Friday. A 70-year-old man was pulled from the debris overnight of a collapsed building in the Izmir region of Turkey along the Aegean Sea. Chicago area and the entire Midwest, in fact, get a little bit of a break as the calendar turns to November. By Friday, temperatures should hit 70. President Trump and Joe Biden making the final push for votes before tomorrow's election. The president with a packed schedule, a handful of stops, Michigan, Wisconsin among them. The president was in Florida yesterday.
What a great victory we had. And we're going to have an even bigger victory. Get out there and vote. We're going to have a bigger victory.
Joe Biden says voters can end the Trump presidency as he rallied the faithful in Pennsylvania.
In 2 days, we put an end to a presidency that has divided this nation. In 2 days, we put an end to a presidency that has failed to protect this nation.
Biden will be in Ohio and Pennsylvania. One of the last polls in the presidential election is now in this morning. The last Iowa poll shows